Okay, hi there. Welcome to the second episode of Screech Bob-Omb commentaries. My name is David Baron von Fabulous Lark. My delightful co-host is
Callum, the good Doctor Young.
excellent. Today we'll
Uh,
be discussing the match between two decks, which are KJ Mulren, which is piloted by who, Callum?
Dammat, who came out of the adaptive qualifier for the KFPL, and
And
is located in Italy, I think.
his opponent will be GQ Giver Queen of the Inspiring Vineyard.
Being run by Toeofdoom, who qualified through the Triad, playing this deck, I believe, as one of three, and is located in Australia.
Excellent.
So spanning the globe today.
Yeah, real globe-trotting matchup. So we're going to talk about KJ Mulren, Colesionista della Tenisera, which is probably
Very
pronounced
nice.
terribly, but I gave it a good go.
This is
Um,
why I let you do that.
yeah. So I'm going to hand over to Callum to give his first impressions of the deck.
Okay, first thing that I spotted about this that I really like and I'm very excited to see is the sheer speed of the thing. So you've got 19 on the efficiency. You've got three Babbling Bibliophiles, including a Maverick Babbling Bibliophile. You've got uh, double Helmsman Spears. You've got a bunch of recursion. You've got United Action with artifacts in each house. So potentially just keep dumping your entire hand. Um, so there's going to be potential for huge amounts of card draw coming through this deck. Um, Now, sometimes the bibliophiles and the spears are a bit fragile to live, but what you have to, I think, hold them up is some wooding and starlights, and also, interestingly, the soul snatcher.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, so the
yeah,
Soul Snatcher is an artifact. I'll hover over it now and give you guys a look at it. Each time a creature is destroyed, its owner gains one. So what that means is that although you might be getting your smaller bibliophiles being destroyed, not getting that efficiency off them, you're still getting an ember off them, which in a deck like this, and it's actually this true but both decks where there's quite a few ember pips, that could really be something that swings the tie one way or the other.
absolutely. Beyond that, the deck is just, as reflected by 78 SAS, pretty good, right? You've got some decent creature control in terms of Kita Dis, Neutrino Flux, Red Alert. You've got some good Ember control. You've got the Eddy and the Hologrammophone, double Cutthroat, double Infernus. So it's just all round pretty good, and it's going to be going through it pretty quickly.
I think that the biggest problem might actually be its creature control, and I'll disagree with you there, Callum, because I think the issue that I see with its creature control is that it's all either circumstantial in the case of Quintrino Flux and Red Alert, or in Key to Dis, it takes a turn to set up sometimes. You might have your Key to Dis out and be ready to use it whenever, in which case the person can play around it, or you might have the other person having a massive board and you have to play your Key to Dis, then take another Dis turn to use it, which may not always be ideal.
This is true. This is true, and there's very little beyond that, which is I think worth noting.
Indeed. I think so.
But
Sorry, you go, Callum.
I mean, the question is then whether it can go through fast enough for those slight downsides not to matter.
Yes,
Which is
exactly.
probably its game plan.
I imagine it is. So I think this is a good time to look at the second deck that we're talking about today, which is
Yes.
GQ Giver Queen of the Inspiring Vineyard. Much easier to pronounce.
Considerably. And I think the first thing I'm super hyped about is the triple Nepenses, which I've not seen in any competitive deck before. So it's going to be able to pick up pretty much whatever he wants from the discard pile. So you've got to
He,
start looking at what those key pieces will be that they're going to be recursing as much as possible.
he will indeed. The only issue with the Dependency is his opponent does have a Poltergeist, which means there's
Poltergeist.
a likelihood that at least one of the dependencies is going to be used by his opponent. And we have discussed the rules with people, and we're fairly sure you can't dependency a Poltergeist you just used.
It's also got double Infernus as well, so the ability to purge important things out of the discard pile is going to be huge in this matchup, I think.
I think that's the interesting thing about the Infernus actually is that a large part of the Ember control that KJ had was the Infernuses. However, this deck, very unusually for both a Kota deck and for a competitive deck, only has 5 Ember pips,
That's so few.
which in one sense is good because it means that Infernus is less likely to be effective and be able to actually control his Ember with it. But it also means the Infernus is probably going to have more scope to just take good things from him and maybe reduce the effectiveness of the dependencies.
All right, so what good things do we think he's going to be Nepenthe seeding back?
I think Arise has to be the big one that
Arise,
you're
very
gonna
big.
you're gonna be looking for, especially if say you've got a Untamed board out already. You run quite a few of them into things, and then you can Arise them all back. Play your Hunting Witch, play your Niflate, your Mamook, and Best case scenario, you maybe even be able to play the Flaxia and the Short House. You would just get that massive
Yeah.
wash of Ember and immediately spend it for a big Key Forge.
Yeah. Also, you can get back Mars creatures. Go with a couple of action cards that reward big plays. So you can Nepseed the Hypnotic Command.
Yes.
You could Battlefleet Nepseed several times and draw a colossal amount of cards.
Yeah, so I think I'm just going to highlight Hypnotic Command here because this is a rare Mars card, not one you see all that often, and it's incredibly strong. So for each friendly Mars creature, choose an enemy creature to capture one from their own side. So in this deck where you have, I believe it's 8 Mars creatures and a Rise, it means you bring them all back, you could be looking at a huge play. Also with the Battle Fleet as well, so if you've got that big hand of Mars, you can potentially be using that Battle Fleet to draw a lot of cards as well as your Hypnotic Command to put yourself in a really strong position.
Yeah. I think another big one that jumps out is Ammonia Clouds, because we were looking at a lot of like 1, 2, and 3 power little creatures that KJ Mullerin needs to keep alive in order to get that speed going.
Yes.
And that will take out most of them. And also, if you Nepseed it, will take out the wards.
Yeah, I think the biggest limitation this deck has, and we kind of briefly touched on creature control in KJ, and this deck has even worse creature control. Like you've got 3 Fates, which, as we just said though, KJ has very small creatures, not going to be very effective. Master of 2, there's a few 2-power creatures you could take out with that, but again, it needs to live a turn, and Ammonia Cloud could really do some damage. I think what you're actually going to be looking for here is using your creatures as your control. You know, you've got big fighty creatures like your Stealers of Souls, you've got your Mars creatures like your Ixalo Bolter and your Zizix Demeni, which can, you know, purge important creatures as well as just kind of growing bigger in the case of Zizix.
Stealer of Souls can purge as well.
Ancient Bear as well can be very useful on a little smaller creature, just getting that assault damage in, not taking any damage itself.
All right, who do you think is going to win? Adaptive. So, which deck do we think is the favoured one?
I
go to 3.
I personally have my money on GQ Give a Queen of the Inspiring Vineyard. I think it's got a number of creatures it's got that can fight and trade very effectively with the opposition creatures. It can just keep control of that. There's some risk of the Key to Dis and the red alerts, and maybe they're going to come in at a bad time, but I feel like if you can play this intelligently, and he's gotten to this point, so there's no reason to suggest that you won't, he's going to be able to control that board, stop KJ from doing anything or producing enough Ember, and just be able to grind it out and get those kind of like big Key Forges with the Untamed.
I would put my money on KJ Mullerin. I think it's going to be too quick for this deck, and I think it lacks the creature control to deal with it. What's interesting though is I think Give a Queen is going to be much harder to play. So an adaptive match where they switch after round 1, I think we could see this going very interestingly and going to a 3rd game. Because certainly this is going to be much harder to pilot in the hands of someone else because you're much less familiar with what you need to bring back with the Nepseeds.
That's very true. Okay, well, we'll move on to the game now and see which of us was correct. Thank you very much. Okay. Hi there. Okay, welcome to the match. Once again, we are seeing Dammat96 play Toeofdoom.
And we have Toeofdoom, Australian located qualifier on the bottom, and Dammat96, our Italian located qualifier on the top. And just brief pause as the original recorder of this Jupiter sorts some things out and looks at the decks. And thanks to them and the Keyforge Premier League in general for letting us do this. Hopefully you, the audience, find it interesting.
Okay, we've got two very nice opening hands here. I can see Toeofdoom probably going for a mulligan. This really isn't the kind of stuff you want early game, but Dammat96, oh boy, that's the hand you want to see.
Yeah, I'm going to gamble that Dammat keeps that. Toeofdoom, I think, you could keep that. You could perhaps drop a turn 1 Defense Seed. You've got a turn 1 3 Fates to take out anything they put down if it's particularly significant. Or you could just start off with a Battle Fleet. But
Battle Fleet for 2, that's not... You want to be getting like 3 or 4 kind of thing with a Battle Fleet, I always feel.
Well, he kept it. So we'll see if he chooses to drop the Nepseed and then go for a double Battle Fleet.
Yeah. So I think we do see this turn 1 Bibliophile. When you've got those 5 Star Alliance cards, it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah. I would be very surprised if that Bibliophile lives, and he's going to kill it with the 3 Fates.
He is going to kill it with 3 Fates. That does mean the Quintrino Flux is likely to just murderize his Toxin. I think that's a fine one just to get rid of. I'd say of his removal, the Quintrino Flux is the least useful. It's gonna like you're very rarely gonna get a lot with it, so I think you're fine just using it to take out a toxin.
Yeah.
Easy win.
Toxin's no joke either, so.
It's also the fact you can't really use it later because you're going to be playing so many threes that if you try and use it on the toxin later, it's going to be killing your stuff.
Okay, wards the medics. So does Toeofdoom goes untamed? So he's going to drop the Nepenthe Seed, exhaust some Starlight's guys, and drop an Ancient Bear.
I think you're going to go for the Chan and both Ingrams. Garcia's not doing much right now.
No.
Oh.
Hope
leaves the Chan up. Interesting.
And you're going to hope you draw 3 Mars cards for some unholy large battle fleet.
He's got
Nepenthe Seed.
2 Mars cards. That's going to be a big battle fleet.
And he can Nep Seed it back too, so that's going to be real big.
Yeah, so I think we're going to see more Star Alliance from Dammat here. You can hold both spears, get them both ward. Interestingly, going for the Dis.
I think you want to drop the spears when you can use the medics to ward them instantly.
Oh, of course they're exhausted. Yes, well.
Otherwise, I think they don't live, and you really want them to.
And he gets the purge on the 3 fates and nocturnal maneuver.
Okay, this battle fleet is going to be huge. If he goes battle fleet, Nepenthe battle fleet.
Oh, of course, I hadn't even considered the Nepenthe here.
Yeah. That's why I thought he'd go take Mars.
Yes, I think he definitely will do that. That's very astute. So yeah, battle fleet here. How many cards is he going to draw into?
Alternatively, he could.
Oh, and he gets what's that? Another 2 Mars cards, so he could play battle fleet again and get another 6 cards out of this. This could be brutal.
And there's a choice here between using the Nepsi to Ammonia cards twice, but I think he's just going to go. Yep, straight battle fleet. Draw a colossal amount of cards.
He's going to have a large hand. It's going to make a nightmare for us seeing what's in his hand, but I don't think Toeofdoom cares. He's also got, you can see the Flaxia in hand, and you've got to assume that he's going to have so many creatures on the board that Flaxia is going to be excellent. As we discussed earlier, one thing Dammat doesn't have is like instant removal. He's got the Key of Dis, which should do it in a turn, and he's got the Red Alert, but, he's going to probably have some creatures on the board, and that's not going to be as effective. So he's soft landing.
Probably a John Smith.
John Smith, yeah.
You've got to think this is
going to be Dominator next to it, and then
this is perhaps the ideal start that Toeofdoom could have hoped for.
Yeah, I think if you're in your dreams, that's what you're hoping for. It's going to play the Tunk, and I guess the Grabber Jammer on the other side of the Dominator. Hypnotic Command. Interestingly played that with only 1 Ember in Dammat's pool. I maybe would have kept a hold of that.
Possibly.
You're not going to be drawing next turn anyway. So I think I would have just kept a hold of that and let it ride to the next turn. He's going to use the Tunk to kill a Medic Ingram, and then he's going to play the Grabber Jammer to get that heal on it, and place it next to the Dominator as expected.
Nice. Okay, what can Dammat do to bring this back? He's got a United action, but I don't think he's going to want to use that because he's going to want to use some of his creatures on the board.
Yeah. He's got the Red Alert in hand, which means he could take out the John Smith, which would be a good one to get rid of.
Takes out the Bear as well.
It does take out the Bear as well, yeah. It's whether you keep it, because you've got to think that Dammat is assuming that Toeofdoom is going to play more creatures next turn. He's got a nice Mars board, but it's not the best Mars board. He's got so much still left in his hand. You've got to be thinking, okay, he wants to play something else big, especially with the Untamed potential.
Yeah, and with the Quintrino Flux already gone as well, then he'd be down 2 out of his 3 big board clears very quickly.
He has gone with the Star Alliance though. Okay.
Seems correct.
He's got an Ingram's Blaster. Can you remind me what Ingram's Blaster does, Callum? I've not come across it as much.
If you whack it on Ingram, you can choose to fully heal a creature, I believe.
I see. So you've got to.
So that could be pretty handy. You've
got to assume that with the Commander Chan, maybe. Are you be looking at doing that with?
He's taking his time over this though.
Reaps with the Commander Chan, use the Infernus.
I can fight with the Infernus to.
He's reaping with the Infernus, though. Now he's using the Red Alert to get. I think he could have increased Red Alert, but I think he's only going to get an extra 1 damage on these creatures, all of which are quite beefy and are unlikely to be fought off the board. He's probably trying to kind of buy his time so he can play that Key of Dis. I think is maybe what he's looking to do. He has got the discard in hand that I think is spot removal, where he could just instantly kill one of Toeofdoom's creatures, maybe the Dominator.
Interestingly, he chose to ward the medic rather than one of the spears.
Yes, that is.
You've got a tricky choice now if you're Toeofdoom. Do you take a Mars turn and fight some things and not play any cards, which may be a problem?
No, I think you take the disc turn here.
And leave. You will leave a spears alive, I believe.
No, I think what he might do is he might Gongoozle one of the spears and fear the other.
Fair enough. So temporarily dealing with this, but not as permanently
which he has done. Yeah, it's not ideal, but it's not terrible. He's got Master of Two, so he might play down the Master of Two. Maybe put a Flame Reed on that, or maybe put it on the Dominator and make that even harder to get rid of. But I feel the Master of Two is what I choose here. Oh, gone with the Grabber Jammer. Interesting.
Increases key costs, reap, capture.
Gives a bit of extra power, gives extra survivability to the Grabber Jammer too. You see the Transporter platform now. This is very handy for a Star Alliance player. Can bring back creatures to play them down again. Particularly good in the case of Frayne if you want the capture, or in the case of Medic Ingram if you want additional wards.
So he's just going to start trying to build up the Star Alliance board where he can really start to go crazy with it.
Indeed, he is.
Interesting to see what he wards here. Perhaps go for the spears, but it doesn't. Even then, it doesn't look like it's going to survive warded.
No, I would not. I would assume not. He's gonna reap with it. Maybe the Commander Chan to do a nice fight here on something and keep the Commander Chan alive and get a reap off the Infernus.
That's true. I think you probably want to take out the Master of Two if you can.
Deals 2 damage to the Grabber Jammer, and
which, thanks to the Flame Wreath, is still alive.
It is still alive and wards the spears.
Okay.
And he's going to reap the Commander Chan and presumably reap with the Infernus as well. This is it's interesting here because Toeofdoom had that amazing battle fleet hand early on. Got a lot of cards out, got a lot of cards in hand. He doesn't really seem to have done that much with it. It feels like here. He's really been penned back by Dammat's board, by Dammat's Star Alliance, and it's been being kept in check quite well.
Yeah, and the Red Alert did a lot of work towards that, in that it took out a couple of creatures. It took out the John Smith specifically. But you've got to think that he only has one other full big clear. We talked about the lack of creature control in Dammat's deck as well. So the only thing he's really got left to clear a board is Key to Dis, which is slow.
It is, yeah.
And we'll be able to see it coming. So he could run into problems later, having dragged this back quite reasonably now.
And Toeofdoom still has the Arise as well, which you've got to think he's maybe looking at Mars at this point, which is, had a lot of creatures killed on that side. Could bring a lot back with it.
Although the problem with Arising the Mars is it takes another turn to play and then another turn after that to really come in and have strong effects.
It does, yeah. You probably would be more looking for the Dis, and this is starting to become a good turn because he's got the Dominator bauble down, so he can start maybe fighting with the Tunk. He can, capture some member with the Grabber Jammer. He's got some options here.
So I think first thing, you have to take out the spears, right? You can't really let that live.
No.
But he can take it out with the Master of Two if he gets rid of the ward first, which he does easily by
using the Tunk in this case.
The Tunk to probably fight it.
Yep, and then use the Master of Two. Use the Tunk to fight the Commander Chan. Interesting.
Runs Drumble into it. Probably.
I suppose, yeah, Drumble wants, I guess he just wants it in the discard so he can arise it back and it actually be useful. There's no real point Drumble just sitting there doing nothing, which is what it's really doing at this point. And now it displays the Stealer of Souls. Stealer of Souls, very nice card in this scenario. It can kill kill all of Dammat's creatures without dying. The biggest creature size that Dammat has is a 4-power creature and gets Toeofdoom Ember in the process. So these can be really helpful cards for Toeofdoom to really build up his Amber and start to kind of like take away any board that Dammat has managed to get a foothold into.
And now he's on check with 7 and is starting to build up the sort of Untamed Burst in his hand for perhaps later.
Yeah, or perhaps next turn. I mean, next turn you can play a Hunting Witch, a Flaxia, and a Witch of the Eye. That's going to be 3 Ember in a turn, setting up for potentially more.
Yeah. Dammat's going to have Logos turn, play out 4 cards, minimal immediate impact. An interesting combo here that you sometimes see is you reap with the Frame and you capture on the resembling automaton. It becomes very difficult to get that Ember back.
It is very difficult to get rid of reassembling automaton. That's true. And we see the Key of Dis is now in the hand of Dammat. Now you've got to think he's going to want to get that out sooner rather than later, just so we can hold it, almost not even just to use, but also to hold up a threat to Toeofdoom and say, you can play cards, but if you play too many, they're going to be gone soon, and it makes Toeofdoom really have to think about what he's playing. He's played the Bolter. I think he's going to fight something with the Tunk, probably the Frame, I would guess, and so we can then heal it again with the Mind Warper.
It's interesting this game so far has not hugely been playing out as I thought it might. There hasn't been a sort of a board-centric fight in that they've both been trying to deal with what the other person has put down. It's one of those things where games like this can sometimes go either way. Either both sides can let each other get on with what they're trying to do and see whose deck does the thing better, or you can get a situation like this where they're edging it back and forth. They are fighting off each other's threats.
See, and this is where I think this is where Toeofdoom, if it continues this way, is going to have the edge. He's got the bigger creatures. He's got the creatures that have the better effects when they're being used. You've got stuff like the Bolter, which can deal 2 damage to another thing. You've got the Tunk, which can keep healing itself. You've got the Stealer of Souls, which is just going to gain a member. These are all great effects. You've now got, though, in Toeofdoom's hand, you've got the big Untamed Burst that we've kind of, I assume he's been looking for and we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
You know,
and the Arise.
That's true as well.
So even if Dammat can get some sort of Key of Dis fixed to get him out of this slightly larger board, then they could be facing a brutal Arise following immediately afterwards.
He really could. And Dammat's not got a great hand here looking at it. He's got a Cutthroat Research to steal 2 if Toeofdoom overextends. He's got a Zend, which isn't going to get in the middle anytime soon. He's got an Artifact, which not really going to help him right now, but he has put the Key to Dis down. So Toeofdoom knows he's on a clock. If he plays too many creatures, they're all going to go by.
A fun Keyforge fact for you. Zenzik refers to the 8th power of a given number.
Oh.
That's why, which leads to some interesting translation things, and that the Korean name for the card is just something to the 8th power, like a very literal translation, rather than the word Zenzik.
Interesting. I think another thing to mention here is that we haven't seen a lot of the big cards that we were talking about in the preview. We've only seen one Nepenthe Seed. We haven't seen the Poltergeist come out either, which could really mess with the Nepenthe Seeds. They're still in the deck buried and are still waiting to have an impact on this game.
Yeah, and this is neither side has got their draws really going. Like we saw Dammat try and get off some double spears action and get knocked back. We only seen the one Bibliophile pretty early on, and it died instantly. So it just hasn't quite managed to get that draw machine rolling.
Draining Touch on the Dominator is an interesting one, especially with the Key to Dis out. I thought initially it was going to be to try and kill one of the things that it's taunting, but obviously with the Flame Wreath, Grabbajammer has Hazardous, so neither of these creatures could actually do any damage to it. They would have died first.
Okay, so you got to think Toeofdoom probably drops the Untamed here. Yes. Especially now that he knows the Key to Dis is there. It's basically just going, yeah, go on then, Key to Dis this. And I'll arise some combination of it straight back.
Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. But I think the importance here, though, is that if he does play the Untamed turn, if I'm counting right, he's going to get 5 Ember taking him to 7, which is 1 fewer than Dammat needs to use Cutthroat Research. So it's actually a really perfect amount of Ember to get. There's nothing on the board that Dammat can do to remove it. He does, we can see, have the E-Die in hand, but he can only archive 1 card. So, as far as I can see, Toeofdoom is going to forge a key this turn.
I think so.
Ooh, that's interesting. We have both the Nepenthe Seed, the Ritual Balance, and the Chota Hazri in hand. So
you've got to assume he hits the Key to Dis here.
You would think so. Yeah, he's
He can stop the key because he's going to archive one.
that's very funny. He's just reached with Wormhole Technician to reveal the Babbling Bibliophile, which is not a Logos card, because this is his
The
Maverick Babbling
Maverick
Bibliophile,
file.
and there is the key to Dis.
So he's going to end up with Zenzi in the middle, probably. Well,
Yeah,
maybe not.
you would assume so. I feel like you would just either you'd maybe get rid of you'd maybe not play the Bibliophile or the Igor, one of the two. No, I'd not play the Igor in this case.
Well, we'll see how quickly he wants to go through his deck.
He's discarded the Igor. Yeah, the thing with it is with Igor, you're going to get one of 3 cards. With Zenzenix, you're going to get 2 of those 3 cards and not discard one.
And he's now on check for 6 with an empty board on the other side. And I don't know whether Toeofdoom can stop him with the Arise. I don't think so, because he's on 6 rather than 7. So Rising the Drumble won't trigger.
He did knock him off check here. I was mistaken.
Yeah, because we missed the Wormhole Technician.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So
obviously, wasn't certain that he get him, but
it wasn't certain. No,
but
he's going to Arise here. I
is.
wonder what he rises. Does he go for the Dis, or does he go Huge Untamed?
Huge Untamed is
he has indeed gone Huge Untamed.
I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, you're gonna get so much off of that Hunting Witch.
You're probably gonna go into a Chota. I guess the question is, what do you do now if you're Dammat? Do you go Logos and draw a bunch?
Yeah.
Do you go Dis and take some Ember and drop the Soul Snatcher? I think you possibly go Dis, because you maybe take some Ember away from him, purge some things from the discard.
It's also the last chance to probably purge anything from Toeofdoom discard. He's got 4 cards left in deck. He's about to flip it. So if you don't do that, you're going to have to do it from your own discard.
True.
And the options there will be your Poltergeist and your Exhume, neither of which you want to be getting rid of.
Yeah. Although a Poltergeist on the Dominator bubble seems like such a waste of a Poltergeist. We talked about that being one of the key cards to take out those Nepenthe Seeds.
Yeah,
so we'll see if he holds it.
This could be interesting. There's an interesting back and forth here, because at this point, Toeofdoom knows that Dammat will have to have the Poltergeist. He's drawn through his entire deck. He's probably seen the Poltergeist in his deck list and knows it. So playing the Nepenthe Seed, he's got to know that Poltergeist is going to use that Nepenthe Seed if he doesn't play it this turn. And I think that could inform of whether he plays that Nepenthe Seed or not.
What does he exhume here? Is another interesting question. He is going to use the Poltergeist.
He can't exhume anything. He's got nothing in the discard.
That's a problem. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, he is using the Poltergeist to get the Dominator Bauble.
You can
ward the Babbling. Oh, he's using the Babbling Bibliophile to draw 2 cards. Binding Irons. And a Imp Spectre.
And now we're looking at a situation where the low creature control in Toeofdoom's deck is a big problem, because this board is scary looking.
One option that Dammat could have done that he chose not to do there was he could have used the Dominator Bauble to activate the Ingram, destroyed the Rock Grub with the Ingram, and then exhumed the Rock Grub to lose an Ember. He went the Bibliophile instead, which I think is also a strong play, but he did have options.
He did. He's, I think, umming and ahhing over the Soul Snatcher, discards the Soul Snatcher. Interesting.
And keeps the Exhume in hand.
So I think perhaps knowing that you're about to see a Hunting Witch and a Witch of the Eye come down is perhaps what informed discarding that Soul Snatcher.
Yeah.
You know full well they're going to drop several must-kill things immediately.
Precisely. So, yeah, he's going to play out as Untamed, presumably go for the Chota just to get the keys. It's getting expensive, but
big problem.
He's not going to be able to get the Flaxia value, I don't think, though. No, he's not going to be able to get the Flaxia value. There's too many creatures. He's only going to get the 1 from the Hunting Witch. But he is going to get just enough Ember to get the Chota.
He does, yes, because he gets 1 from the Hunting Witch and then forges. That is a nice play.
It is. It's a lovely play.
One of those things where you will see if Dammat can repeat that in a second game.
See, I think though Dammat has this here. I think you can go for the logos and just reap out, and there's not that much.
I can't quite see. Has Toeofdoom reshuffled?
Toeofdoom has reshuffled now. Oh no, he's got his discard. He's not reshuffled actually. Because of the chains, he didn't reshuffle.
Ah, that's big because obviously now he's dropped the Nepenthe seed. He knows the Poltergeist is gone. He can try and Nep seed answers basically.
Yeah, he's also got Witch of the Eye as well. So he's got two things to.
Yeah, you got to be thinking about trying to get back. Either. Well, I mean, you got a couple of options, right? Because obviously there's a chance you can untamed, reap out, kill the Chota, and then get it back and forge, depending on how much is left alive. That's one out you've got here to win this game for Toeofdoom.
I'm looking at the numbers here. So it's with the Witch of the Eye as well. So you've got Witch of the Eye and Nepenthe to get things back.
We're probably being presumptuous because I don't see a scenario in which the Witch of the Eye lives.
No, that seems unlikely. The Hunting Witch also seems like a easy target.
Yeah.
Famous
Keyforge aphorism of burn the witch. I like to say, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, because I am pretentious.
You are indeed. I think you go for the logos here. You maybe use the automaton to kill the witch. You use the Zens to kill the Mermook, and you use the Zens to kill the witch. Playing the Igor.
Here comes the sort of cycling we talked about. That the speed at which he's going through his deck is very high.
It is. Cycling more than the Tour de France up in here.
Oh boy. Sure. Some jokes right there. And you can also ward something as well. And get back something that's been purged.
So it's interesting, he's reaping out here. He's not fighting with anything currently. I thought he might actually fight with. I thought he'd fight with the Zens because it has enough power. It has the ward. It's going to survive. You could kill the Witch of the Eye with that. You kill the Hunting Witch with that. It seems to me now that he's actually going to leave one of the Hunting Witch and the Witch of the Eye alive.
That seems like a mistake to me. I would not want to risk messing about with that.
No, I would assume he's going to kill the Witch of the Eye.
He can still fight with two things, so he can still take them both out.
What's he got to fight with other than the the automaton and the Edie? True. I guess he might fight with the automaton, fight with the Edie, then reward the Edie.
He's already used the hologramophone.
Has he? Okay.
He warded it to begin with.
This is. See.
Interesting.
In this case, I'm just trying to do the numbers here, but I think what you could do would be, you could fight into the Edie to knock off the wards, fight it with, say, the Flaxia, reap for 4, and then you'd play the Niffle-Ape. You could get another untamed creature and get the Chota, and you could do it that way. I think Toeofdoom has enough to steal this here. He's killed the Witch of the Eye. Okay.
Okay, that's big. But leaving the Hunting Witch alive?
I mean, I think
not even getting to check with it either. I think without the Witch of the Eye, I don't think he can cheat it out.
I'm just doing the numbers here. So he can reap before. He needs to kill the Edie is the problem.
Yeah, I don't think he can do it. He can't go from 0 to 7 and kill an Edie.
No, but I guess the thing is, though, you could just play the Niffle-Ape, reap out. Oh, wait, no, he kills the Edie with the Ancient Bear.
Yeah, so he can get this Salt. I still don't think he has enough to do it.
No, then he'd reap before. Yeah, you need to be able to kill the Chota and reap for 4.
I don't think it can be done. I don't think he goes for that. I don't know exactly what it does. Probably Untamed. The problem he has now, though, is that he's going to reshuffle after this turn, right? So any Nep seed value he wants to get, he needs to probably get one of them now.
True.
I've got to say, if this comes off for Dammat, I will applaud his boldness. I never would have risked leaving the Hunting Witch alive.
He has indeed got some moxie here. This is a tough. I think you go for the Untamed. I think you try and get as much Ember as possible. And
I mean, you can get to check for sure.
what you...
Oh, with the Eddie,
Hmm.
yeah, you can probably just about get to check if you bring back the Witch, Witch the
Yeah.
Eye.
Yes, that's a good point.
And this is the fact that there is a large pause in play, I think, indicates that he is struggling with his choice as much as
Yeah,
we are.
gone for the Untamed. Okay. Interesting. I think you have to use the Ancient Bear to kill the E-Die because that's giving you a bigger Ember swing than just reaping with it.
Yeah.
I think what you do the rest, you want to get the Chota back in hand is the problem. And the only way to do that is by fighting it and defense seeding it.
Yeah, and unlike a lot of Kota competitive Untamed decks, there's no Nature's Call.
There's not. Nature's Core here, and he'd be done. It'd be home and hosed. Goes for the Arise. Oh. This...
So now we can fight and kill off a lot of the Untamed to set up an Arise play, potentially.
But he's not got the time to do that. He's not got the time to do that would surely be the problem. Because you can play Arise, but you've got to think Dammat's going to have Forged next turn. I mean, with all the logos he has, you can reap for like 12. Or 212, rather. And he's just reaping out. And then what's he going to do with the Chota? And he fights the... That's a strange one when it's going to get reshuffled into his deck now.
That's true.
And he didn't...
I don't think he missed the reshuffle either because he knew to get the Arise when he did, right?
It's strange he didn't play the Niflheim either for the extra Ember off of the Hunting Witch.
Because does that stop the reshuffle?
Ah, yes, it does. Okay.
So now he's setting up the Chota, right? He's setting up a situation where he can reap several times and then Nepseed the Chota. You see, this is the benefit you get from having played a deck however many times he's played it. He saw that in a way that we did not.
We did not, but the problem is though that you can't play the Arise on an Untamed turn.
No, but he could just reap and then Nepseed the Chota.
But you've got to assume now that Dammat isn't going to leave any Untamed stuff alive.
I don't know. I don't know whether he did before. I don't know whether you just risk him doing that again.
Played Cutthroat Research.
He's coming in with a United Action, so he's going to play his entire hand.
Yeah.
He's going to play an Infernus. He's going to exhume something.
The Infernus. He's going to Infernus away the Chota. This is dreadful.
You've got to think he will.
Yeah. What else would you hit at this point? Like probably the Chota and the Hunting Witch. He doesn't need to get Ember off him really. Chota and the Drumble. Yeah. Okay. Also makes sense.
That's perhaps why he was going for the Arise.
Yeah. Yeah. Buy himself an extra turn.
Yeah. But the Infernus, as predicted, in one of our many predictions earlier when we just were scatter shooting ideas around, the Infernus purging two key pieces.
Yeah. And neither of them with Ember, which is commonly what you see an Infernus doing.
Yeah. And he's got a Draining Touch, probably the Hunting Witch.
You would assume so, yeah. And could even exhume something if he wants. Why not? Make it a pie. Oh no, he's Draining Touch the Infernus to play it again. Oh, you scoundrel.
It's two more crucial pieces
that
can't be Nepseeded.
These are some excellent plays here.
Hypnotic Command, perhaps?
And Grabber-Jammer, yeah.
Grabber-Jammer. So the sort of things that might take you off check.
And I think Toeofdoom is just hosed here. I don't think there's anything he can do. Yeah, he's conceded. There you go.
Yeah, conceded. Ooh, excellent plays all around.
Yeah, great first game there.
Yeah, Toeofdoom playing to his outs very well. He knew what he had to do to bring that situation back and to bring to a victory for him. And he did it. Fortunately, it didn't work out. But he gave himself the best shot he could. And it was very close.
Yeah. Excellent play from Dammat, though. Like, just I mean, I understand corrected here. I was the one saying that he didn't have the control on his deck, that he was going to get outfought on the board, but he used his wards masterfully. He played it masterfully to just really like play the board at exactly the right time and really stymie Toeofdoom's play. This was a
Yeah.
masterclass in low power control by Dammat, and I'll be honest, as a controlling player who likes to use big creatures to fight things, I can only applaud that. That's impressive. I've not
That's good.
seen play like that before.
I'm used to playing with lots of smaller creatures. So that's perhaps a little less surprising. What's going to be interesting now is that Dammat won that despite pretty much we talked about an ideal start from Toe of Doom.
I
Right,
think
he got a huge battle fleet really early.
I think though you can't sleep on Dammat's start. Getting the Star Alliance out as early as he did was big. It meant that Toe of Doom had to spend a lot of time dealing with it.
Yeah, true.
You know, and I think that might be part of the problem. He couldn't get the fast start that maybe the deck needed, and Dammat kind of got out in front. He had more keys. He forced Toe of Doom to respond and stop Dammat forging, and kind of stymied his own ability to really win the game.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that as soon as Dammat managed to take over the board after the key of this, it immediately swung in that direction.
Yeah.
At that point, it always felt like Toe of Doom was on the back foot.
It really did.
Sorry.
Nice. Okay, strong opening hand from Toe of Doom here. He mulligans it. Maybe not a strong opening hand. I would have.
I don't think he wants the Infernus. I think he wants that later to do what he did before.
I guess
think he'll be much happier with the Bibliophiles.
I think you had a nice set of discs there to play with. Didn't get on the board. You had like a nice first turn play. I personally would have kept that, but maybe that's why I'm not in the Keyforce Premier League and I'm just commentating on it.
Possibly so. Dammat has mulliganed into a mixed hand, which is not really what you want.
I think both players have, really, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, because that's Toe of Doom's hand is more mixed than I'm looking at because the Maverick Babbling Bibliophile.
Yeah, he's defected to the Dis, down with the demons now.
Yes.
And he does play the Maverick Babbling Bibliophile. And obviously doesn't play his Raining Touch because that would kill his Babbling Bibliophile. Babbling Bibliophile, thrusting that 10 times fast. It's hard.
I will not. We have a Ritual of Balance in Dammat's hand, which we did not see before, did not comment on the beginning. A little bit of cheeky Ember control here and there.
Indeed. And oh, that's a nice set of discs to draw into there.
Wonder if Toe of Doom hits the Poltergeist here. I don't think he will. I think he knows. He's going to know. So they're going to know how reliant their artifacts are.
I think
how reliant their deck is on the Nepenthe.
I think that's another thing we didn't bring up in the previous game, which is the Nepenthe didn't come from Toe of Doom till very late, and that was a real shame.
Late event.
You know, you got to think those are quite crucial to his deck and really bringing back those kind of bigger cards. The fact that you couldn't get those till later.
You got the one off with the early battle fleet.
So 3 fates just to clear the board here. He's killing 2 Battling Bibliophiles. Always fun to see 3 fates killing some little baby creatures.
And a tasty hand from Dammat there. And also killing off those 2 Bibliophiles really spoils the United Action play that was about to come down from Toe of Doom. He's going to go Star Alliance, but he can't dump out his entire hand, which is what he otherwise would have done.
No. So yeah, nice first officer freight. Little cheeky bit of capture. And we're most likely going to end this turn with neither player having any Ember in their pool.
Well, like it's like before, it's the sort of creature-based fight. They're both trying to stop the other one from doing things.
So I think you're going to see some Mars here, I would guess.
Yeah, I've got to assume that...
Just to get rid of that. Ammonia Cloud to get rid of the spears. Oh no, Untamed.
He's gonna Hunting Witch Flaxia, get a chunk of Ember.
Yeah. Really, you get 4 Ember. Can't be mad at that. And maybe like waiting a bit, seeing if you can get the battle fleet.
Yeah, and also you kind of want a soft landing John Smith into another Mars creature, which he didn't have.
And he's got Dominate now, which is a nice one, just to knock the stun off. Get ready.
So does Toe of Doom go Star Alliance here and reap with Helms and Spears and discard 6 cards?
I mean, you don't discard the.
Yeah, 5 because you keep the Poltergeist.
I think that's there's a lot of cards in his hand here that he maybe doesn't get rid of, like the Cut That Research and the Artifact are maybe the ones I want to get rid of, but Draining Touch, Poltergeist, Zend are really useful.
Well, I think yeah, he takes out the Hunting Witch, captures an Ember, reaps, discards a couple. Interesting to see how bold is Toe of Doom feeling here. I think is the question.
Well,
How much are you willing to risk on drawing other good Starlines cards? Oh, and he's everything but the Poltergeist.
damn.
So
Okay.
5, and I think he's rewarded from that because he's going to draw, and he's drawn 3 Starlines cards, including the Ingram.
Yeah. The Ingram, and you got to assume he's going to ward either the Chan or the Spears, I would guess here.
I'd go Spears.
The Chan can get a good thing to get a fight off, though. Kill a thing, keep it on full health. Maybe even going to fight the Stealer of Souls and then use the Blaster to kill it.
Nice, and that's a good shout.
It's a big creature to get rid of. It's going to take out at least 2 of his creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, and also you purge them as well, which in a deck that cycles this quickly matters quite a lot.
And now we see the Ammonia Clouds, and that's a big hit.
I think that's a clear correct play.
Yeah.
He got an okay turn out of it, but he would have wanted another one, I think, to really go hard with the Starlines.
Yeah, and he's going to reap here, get the Dominator unstunned. Set up a nice little Mars turn. That Ammonia class was big. That's some really good Star Alliance creatures that could have really gone off, and we kind of saw that in the last game.
Yeah.
So you've got to expect to see a Dis turn here. I think Poltergeist, the Dominator Bauble to reap with the Chan and destroy the John Smith would be my assumption.
Yeah, that's a shout, I think. It's going to exhume something.
The Zens.
Exhumes the Zens. So you've got to leave that in the middle.
I imagine maybe toss the Imp Spectre then, not play
Probably,
that.
Yeah.
This is fair.
Although it's interesting because obviously this is not the owner of this deck currently playing it. They will have seen Dammat do similar things in game 1. So the question is whether they do it. I think another question is, do they hold the Poltergeist here?
I don't think they do. I think holding on to the Poltergeist is you're gonna get an Nepenthe eventually, but this is just a really strong place to get rid of John Smith, which can really do some work.
The Infernus takes out the Hunting Witch as well, which really takes a lot of the sting out of the Untamed Arise that we saw Toeofdoom pull off last game.
Yeah, and Dammat really not getting great hands here, I'd say. You've got a 2/1/3, and that Untamed you can't really do that much with right now.
They've been pretty mixed so far.
We get a fight into the Commander Chan here. And then a play with the Witch of the Eye, getting it behind a big taunt there, so hopefully we're going to get that Witch of the Eye to live.
Can now safely drop an Nepenthe Seed.
He can.
Knowing that the Poltergeist is gone. And he takes him off check with a Ritual of Balance.
He does indeed.
So, very back and forth again.
Yeah, going for the logos here. Probably going to drop the Edeye just to get a bit of an archive, and also he's going to get the Zens in the middle again for even more card draw.
But the Witch will live.
The Witch will live. I mean, I suppose it's kind of what do you want to get out of the discard with the Witch at the moment is the question.
Flaxia is the obvious idea, but...
It is, but then you've not got, at the point where we'll be handing back over to him, he's going to have enough logos creatures where Flaxia's not going to do anything. Unless you Nepenthe another... Well, no, you can't even Nepenthe another creature back first. Well, you got to assume they're going to go for a Dis turn either way. You've got 4 discards. They're pretty nice. And Toeofdoom will be on check, but Drumble won't. Drumble is captures 7, or is it one of those?
Yeah, if you have 7 or more, captures all of it.
So Drumble won't be able to do anything there.
I mean, the problem he
doesn't go to check.
Well, because he doesn't want the Ritual of Balance to get an easy steal.
True.
And that's a good interaction that I think I missed the first time round because we didn't spot the Ritual of Balance.
Discuss a hologramophone. That was doing a lot of work in the first game.
It was, yeah.
Now you've got the key to Dis in the hand of Toeofdoom now, so anything Dammat can do, you've got to think that key to Dis is going to come down at some point and put the Frighteners on.
He Nepseeds the Gongoozle. Wants to take out that Zens.
I mean, it makes sense. It's getting him a lot of cards at this point. You know, like 2 extra cards a turn. That can really be backbreaking. Now gets the Battle Fleet, but doesn't really have the Mars in hand to be able to get the most out of it.
Not yet, but it's been a while since we saw Mars, so I think there's some more in there.
Yeah, you maybe go with the Untamed here, get the Nepenthe down so you can return a Mars card to your hand if you wanted. You know, you can exhaust some things, probably the Bibliophile and the Wormhole Technician.
Let's have a look at this from Toeofdoom, though, because he's got the Quintrino Flux in hand. Can you get a good Quintrino Flux off here? Not necessarily, because all of Dammat's creatures are a different power.
I think you can. I think you get rid of you do it on your Infernus to get rid of his Master of 2, and you then take out the Stealer of Souls or the Dominator. Would be
not the Witch.
No, because you kill the Witch, you also kill your Edite and your Wormhole Technician.
Yeah, but I might take that trade.
Really?
Burn the Witch.
Burn the Witch, true. I suppose you could ward with the Ingram first if you wanted, but then you have to kill the Ingram. You're killing a lot of stuff for that, and like both Wormhole Technician and Edai are mighty fine cards.
Yeah, you maybe ward the Edai with the Medic.
Even then, you're losing the Medic at that point, though. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, true. It's gone Logos, so he's just gonna.
It's gonna reap out. I suppose with the Bibliophile, you're gonna get 2 cards.
Draw 2.
Doesn't draw any Logos, but making subsequent turns even bigger.
Maybe archives 1 with the Wormhole Technician. No, he's got an Igor.
Igor, ooh, very nice. Let's see what his options.
Wormhole Technician, I think, underrated card.
Yeah, Wormhole Technician I have a lot of success with.
I've been playing a deck with a couple of them in recently. That belongs to you. And it has just some good stuff.
Gets the cut research, but Dammat smartly on 7 doesn't do anything apart from get Toeofdoom a juicy Ember. So Toeofdoom on 9.
And that's why I think he held off the previous turn, because he knows that he needs to go comfortably above 6 to avoid the Ritual of Balance.
Exactly.
All right, what do we have here?
I made that Wormhole Technician was kind of hoping for an archive, just push Dammat over the check, but didn't quite manage it. Got the Igor instead. Can't be too unhappy with that.
So the first key goes to Dammat.
It does indeed. Okay, Ritual of Balance for a cheeky steal. Plays in the Penseed. Going to exhaust 3 creatures. You've got to assume that would be the Bibliophile, the Wormhole Technician, and the Infernus. Just because it can't kill a thing.
And now he has the option of the Witch of the Eye getting back the Flaxia.
He does now, yes.
Or he could just do Nocturnal Maneuvers twice.
He could. I think that doesn't seem ideal. You could bring back another Nepenthe if you wanted.
Ooh, that would be a spicy play.
That would be a spicy. He does bring back the Nepenthe.
Yeah. See, this is why these are the KFPL guys.
Yeah. Hey, I also spotted that play. Maybe I should be in the KFPL. No,
look, we tried.
We did. We did our best.
We gave it a fair try. I'd failed.
See, I think he's going to exhaust the Bibliophile and the Wormhole. Definitely.
We can hit 3. So
I do the Infernus as well. It's the biggest power. It could kill one of your creatures. Yeah, there you go.
And now he's looking down a huge battle fleet turn.
Potentially, yes. He could be drawing quite a few things. Deals 2. Yep, use the kill the Edai. Makes sense here. And Toeofdoom's going to get a very nice key for 6 Ember. Okay. You see a Star Alliance play here. And he has the Red Alert, but it can only do 2 damage. So it would take up the Drumble and the Ancient Bear. And that's it. If he does which he does. 2 damage on Witch of the Eye, though. Nothing to sniff at. Now he can play the Quintrino Flux. I think Infernus definitely to kill the Master of 2. I just don't. He does kill the Witch of the Eye and kill both of his 3 power creatures. Now that Edai's gone, it's less of a thing, I think, but that's still quite big.
Drops the spears. Oh, this is going to be such a huge battle fleet turn.
It is indeed.
Almost certainly takes.
Especially the Hypnotic Command, he's only got 3 Ember on the board,
You could
so
tempt fate a little bit and just put down one more Nepenthe Seed. But
no,
that
not.
we saw bold plays from Dammat before.
We have.
Do they have the gumption to try and set that up? We'll see. I wouldn't, because I'm a scaredy cat.
I think it's also, if you're Toeofdoom, you've gotta know what's happening there.
Okay, they've got Mars, so we're just gonna get a battle fleet. How many times do they play this battle?
If you're Toeofdoom, you've got to know what's happening there, and you're just gonna play out your dis. You're not gonna get much Ember from it, and you're just gonna kind of let it. And just be like, okay, you can play your big Mars turn, but you're not gonna steal much from me, and you're gonna give me a turn to set up and have a key to dis down, for example. Matt is asking ammonia clouds or not.
We saw the ammonia clouds earlier, so the question is, does he forfeit an extra battle fleet to hit an ammonia clouds to kill off a bibliophile, a spears, etc.? He does. They do, sorry. Now battle fleets.
And presumably it's going to battle fleet again. That's a disappointing battle fleet, though. You didn't draw any Mars cards off of it.
He's going to have another go.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's what we wanted to see. So yeah, there goes the ammonia clouds. Really knocking back Toeofdoom's board state again. So you got a Mind Warper. Now there's an interesting question here about whether he is going to keep the Marauder in hand or not, because he's presumably going to have at least some Mars creatures ready next turn, and hopefully have enough Mars creatures down next turn to make a Mars turn worthwhile. And you could potentially be capturing a lot with the Marauder next turn, and also healing the Tunk with it too. But he does play the Marauder.
I think that kind of makes sense, because you know that you've just seen the Quintrino Flux, and you know that the red alert is gone. So you know that the only big board clear, because his deck, it's their deck that they're playing against, right? You know that the only big board clear is the Key of Dis.
And you know he's got the Key of Dis because he has flipped his deck at this point. So yeah.
So you know you're going to get a pretty good Mars turn out of this next turn.
Yeah, and you know that likely the Mars is going to live one turn after this as well.
He held the Hypnotic Command, presumably hoping that the opponent generates more Ember.
He's not going to generate more Ember, firstly. Well, not much more, because of the not finished with you. You've got to wonder if he plays the Soul Snatcher or not. I'd suggest he doesn't, because that's going to give Dammat a lot of Ember when he uses that Key to Dis.
God, I think no. What are they going to purge, is the question.
That's a good question.
Full discard, right?
Yeah. There you go. Battle Fleet and Gongoozle.
So going for the Ember. Not going for the bits. Could have hit 2 Nepenthe Seeds, for example.
Could have done. Very true. So I think there's some wisdom here to fighting that Infernus into something, because at the moment, if Dammat reaps with the Bolter, he can purge that Infernus, which he'd really rather he didn't do. And he can also not finish with you to put the Infernus back in deck as well.
He does discard the Soul Snatcher.
And he fights the Zizix. Yeah, I think that's a good play.
Not finish with you. Puts the Infernus back into the deck.
Ooh, big Logos hand you got on the flop there. So you got to expect to see a big old Mars turn from Dammat here.
Yeah. Drops the Hypnotic Command, takes all that Ember.
Yeah, do some reaping, do a bit of biffing. You know, maybe put it all on Rock Grub, reap with the Bolter to purge the Rock Grub.
Yeah, especially because you know the Key of Dis is almost certainly going to happen next turn, right?
Yeah, exactly. You may as well just...
and they have, however, drawn the Arise.
It has. And you've got to assume he's going to go for this here. Also, not going to have to play any cards, so can get maximum value from the Arise as well when he plays it.
The question is, can Toeofdoom deal with this sizable amount of Ember? they'll key to this and drop a bunch of Logos creatures, including an Eddy, but
It's not really going
what's
to
the
award
rock?
anything. He's going to have to let him at
No.
least forge one key here. Unless he chooses... Oh, I suppose he... Oh, yes, because Omni on Key of Dis. But yeah, he's going to make him play 7. There's not any other way of archiving other than just the one-off of the Edi himself. It's a big turn for Dammat. I think this could be one that really edges him out ahead, and we could maybe even need to just go to 2 games.
Yeah, it's interesting because I would not have predicted that from the first one, and I would have thought that that was the draw you were looking for from Toeofdoom's deck, but the huge Mars battle fleet turn later in the game, coming, I think, noticeably after.
So that hand wasn't as good as we thought it was because one of the bibliophiles was in fact a
One of the bibliophiles was in Dis. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to arise. What does he arise for? Hunting, which is purged, so the Untamed is not as good as, because I think that would be an instant pick if the Hunting witch was still there.
Yeah.
Because you've got the Chota.
Do you just bring out the Dis and just like whap it all down?
I think so, but it's hard to say.
That
He's gone Untamed.
Gone Untamed.
So it's gambling that they can drop all of that and then Chota, but I just don't think it's quite there.
I mean, he's got to be assuming that he can get. It's if Toeofdoom if Toeofdoom goes on check, then he is just gonna play all of that, steal one, and win there.
Indeed.
So picks up his archive. Oh no, draws 2 cards with the bibliofile. Sorry, excuse me.
I don't think he can get. I don't think they can get to check.
I don't.
Oh, they can actually. They can get to 6. If they play two cutthroats and then reap.
2 cutthroats and reap, yeah. It's whether they'll do that. What that then would do though is it would potentially increase the key cost if Wormhole Technician doesn't get to archive a card, but the key cost is 7.
Okay, so can't quite Chota immediately.
Oh no, he can. If you play the Flaxia Ritual of Balance. Oh no, because it increases the cost. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You let me get there in the end. Thanks, man.
Just let me get there. But he's going to take the Untamed turn anyway and probably hold the Chota to set yourself up for next turn doing it.
Yeah, he's as much. Oh, he does go to check. Interesting. I mean,
so he can't quite do it, but we'll take Toeofdoom off check.
You will. And I think that might even be enough. I mean, you've still only got 1 key from Toeofdoom.
I mean, it's looking pretty good for Dammat at this point.
Yeah. I'm just going to be... you could get a potentially really good Quintrino Flux here, getting rid of the Witch of the Eye, the Murmook, and the Niffalape, and only knocking the ward off of his Edi. And also killing the Succubus and the Toxin, actually. Yeah, that Quintrino Flux can do some damage.
Well, the Succubus is 5 because of the Flame Wreathed. But still, Dammat goes check.
Oh yeah, but in that case you do a 3 on your side and a 5 on the other.
Drops into Pentseed.
Leave him with the Flaxia. That's it. Not what you want to see. The trouble with that play though is he's got no Ember control, and if he plays say the Blaster, he goes on check, and Dammat can.
Here's the thing: can Toeofdoom stop this key?
Yes, I do. Ooh, actually,
I think they're reliant on a Wormhole archive or something.
Yeah, they are actually. I didn't even notice that.
That's the only. Yeah, they got to 7.
Yeah. And he's not played the Murmook, not played the Niffalape. He's got the Drumble in hand now as well. Which...
presumably, again, stalling to avoid the reshuffle. Is that what's happening there?
Yes, most likely. He's got the Pentseed, so he could bring...
Yeah, so wants to be able to Napseed something back.
Probably the Flaxia back. I'm bringing Flaxia back.
Yep.
Thank you.
I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
That was objectionable in many ways.
I knew it'd be like a reflex. No one can resist
Yeah,
Justin
it's,
Timberlake.
it's
No one.
so yeah, this is looking like it's closing out for Dammat.
Yeah, I think we could be seeing this game 1 and 2. I don't really see how Toeofdoom gets out of this unless he can get a lucky wormhole technician.
Also, even if they can stop the keeper now, they're probably going to lose to Cheddar.
One would assume, yes. I think
They're
you
going
have
for
to
the-
go for the Star Alliance. I think you have to just get rid of as much of the stuff as possible.
It's gone Dis. It's going to exhume an Infernus, perhaps? Exhume a Rock Rub?
Yeah. No, it can't exhume the Rock Grub. The Rock was purged, but
Purged.
Infernus would work.
Um,
Has he got an Infernus in the discard? Though?
I don't know. It's going to exhume something.
Uh,
Um,
gets moves into the archive. Exhume. He's going to exhume. He does have an Infernus, yes. So going to knock him off check with that. Presumably, then destroy the Witch of the Eye.
yeah.
But that's not going to be enough. He's still just going to be able to reap with Ancient Bear and Flaxia and Ritual of Balance for the win.
Looks like it.
So he might even have enough creatures. I think he will not have enough creatures
because
to
he picked to the
Flaxia.
archive to get the draining touch.
Yep.
So he can reap twice. Cheddar has 3.
Yeah. Which I think he is just in the process of doing now. And that's Keyforge.
That's very interesting because I guess the question is what went right for Dammat that wasn't quite there for Toeofdoom in that matchup? Because I certainly came out in the first one thinking that KJ Mulren would win again.
I think the big thing was the Nepenthe Seeds. The Nepenthe Seeds really came out at better times for Dammat. You saw almost all the Nepenthe Seeds coming out right at the end for Toeofdoom.
Yeah, and it was it's like mid-game Nepenthe Seeds where you're really able to maximize the efficiency because you know what you're gonna draw from your deck. You know what is in the discard. And yeah, Toeofdoom had one very early and then the other two very late.
It also limited Toeofdoom's use of Nepenthe Seed because he had to limit the amount of cards he played so he wouldn't reshuffle the deck. And I think that limited him as well, whereas you have a lot more freedom playing Nepenthe Seed in the middle of the game.
Yeah, and I think the board clear therefore lined up a lot better for Dammat playing that deck because we saw the big play of using a Nep Seed to bring back the Ammonia Clouds.
Exactly, yeah. The Ammonia Cloud was very, very clutch. And
Toeofdoom got one use of that.
Yeah.
And quite early on. I'm going to step out for a second because my doorbell has just rung. But that was very enjoyable. I'll leave you to finish up with some thoughts.
Yeah, so as I say, I think a very interesting game. As I say, this was adaptive. So normally we would see in a third game where there'd be chain bid if one deck had won twice. In this case, we saw one player win twice. So very well played from Dammat. Also very well played from Toeofdoom. We saw some really interesting, powerful plays coming out from there. A good game had by both. And I hope you enjoyed listening. This is David, Bramwell Fabulous Lark, signing off. I'll sign off for Callum, the good Dr. Young, in his absence. And hopefully see you next time. Thank you.